Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the Fearless Facilitator Book Launch Party. Going live in a couple of minutes.
Thanks for making it, Alex. You're on mute.
I know. It was, for some reason, I thought it was 6 o'clock this evening, not 4 your time. Sorry.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could be Justin.
All right. Okay. Why is he not? Isn't he not here? Even here yet? Then?
No.
Oh.
No. I pinged him, but he's not picking up his phone either. It's got straight to voicemail. So that's why I asked two of you to come on to support, not just one.
That's fine.
But with 3 minutes to go, no sign of not you or Justin. Wendy and I were like, whoa, what's going on?
No. Yeah,
1 minute.
It's all about being fearless facilitating, surely. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's all fine. It's all absolutely fine. So we'll just wait for the top of the hour. With about 30 seconds, Wendy, do you think about there? I'm going to do the countdown timer. All right, here we go. We're going to go dark for 30 seconds, folks, so bear with me.
Woohoo!
Here we are. Finally.
So a big welcome, everyone. Paul, who do we have?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have Wendy from Ireland supporting today. She's going to be my host. Wendy has her own podcast. So I've chosen Wendy to host because she has got lots of experience in running these sorts of things, albeit on audio. So Wendy, if you want to give a shout out to your podcast, then please feel free to do so. Go ahead.
I will at the end of the show.
Okay, you can do.
We've also got Alex.
Let me just promote him. Hang on. There we go. Hang on. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Alex.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And Alex is from Spain. So we've got Wendy from Ireland, Alex from Spain, me in the UK here. So we're trying to go as international as possible. And Wendy's going to host this for me. So thanks for Wendy for hosting. And Alex will be paying attention to comments and questions. So if you want to interact, ask questions, and we'll be asking you questions throughout the session. We try to make this as interactive as we can, rather than just listening to me and Wendy for the next hour. So feel free when we ask you questions to drop in the comments as well. Alex will be watching those with interest, and we'll try and promote those comments onto the screen wherever possible. Wendy.
Yep, and we are here for 3 wonderful purposes. The first, of course, is to celebrate, Paul, your wonderful book launch for Fearless Facilitator. We are here to have fun, and we are here to learn something, and of course, win some prizes. Yay!
No expense spared.
So, Paul, tell us what prizes are we up for winning to all our audience here?
Yeah, sure. I'll just quickly show you. So party giveaways galore here, folks. But also I want to point out for the live show here today, but also for those who are watching on replay. I know there's some folks who have bought the book and couldn't make it this afternoon. And for those who are maybe a little bit behind the curve on the launch, there will be some prizes for the replay as well. So author signed books, we'll be giving you some of those today. Sports bottles, we'll talk about resilience a little later on today and why it's important to look after yourselves when you're facilitating. Some goodie bags, we'll give away some of those. And towards the end, as well as that, some coaching session as well. I'm going to give some folks, if they, that's purely optional, by the way. If people want the coaching, they're more than happy. If they don't, then that's not a problem at all. But it's there if people want to win it. So that's what we're going to do a little later on. And I think we're going to kick off our first shout out and interaction now, Wendy.
Absolutely. Let's hear it from all our audience out here. Where are you watching this live stream from? Put it in your text chat, whichever direction your text chat is. Where are you watching this feed from? We can see it there, but which side does it appear for you? Whichever screen orientation you have, tell us where you are watching this stream from.
Yeah, and then this is where Alex's geography is going to really be put to the test. This is from Leicester, Alex. So you might need to. We're going to give you some time. We're not going to announce the winner for another 10 or 15 minutes. So just in case people have come in a little later. So hence we'll keep that ticker tape thing running at the bottom of the screen for a few minutes whilst people enter that, and therefore that will give Alex some chance to work out who's going to win that free signed book. All right, thanks, Wendy.
Gonna say hi to Joanne. I could see Joanne. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Hamel. Hi, Eva. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Guy. Woohoo! Lots and lots of people.
Yeah, we can promote them. You see, we've got Charlie from Derbyshire, which is great. That's not that far. We've got Farnham, all sorts of people. So that's great to see.
Wonderful. So, Paul, I've got some questions for you.
Sure.
First question: tell us, what is your book about?
So the book is a summary. It's really around how to prepare for and lead events. Now, whether they're meetings, workshops, training events, the techniques are going to be pretty much the same. So anyone who is running events or is planning to run events in the future, so that's pretty much the summary. And it's split into three main sections. So I'm going to use that as a guide. And by the way, my stepdaughter, big shout out to Bethany Wykes today. She designed the cover for me. And the three sections are in the logo. So the first one's around the iceberg, and that's really around having a proven plan, the 7 steps that you can go through to prepare for an event. And we all know, in terms of the iceberg, most people only see the tip of it. And by following the 7-step plan, that will hopefully not only provide some structure to the way you put up an event together, but more importantly, it'll prevent nightmare situations from happening, and that's what a lot of people tend to worry about. So that's the first section. The second one is really around the shield, and that's the 6 strategies that I have to defend against difficult questions. The way I'd like to say is the strategies take the stress away from Q&A. And so even though you've done all your prep, you're still then faced with what could happen during the event. And a lot of people do worry about that. But the 6 strategies themselves hopefully will help you defend yourself against difficult questions. So that's the second. And then the third one, which is the wings, is around the swan. And that's really around being calm and confident on the surface, while underneath you might be working really hard to deal with difficult behaviors. And again, most people struggle with working out what happens if someone does this, or what happens if the group does that. So in here, there are 11 strategies that you can apply when you're faced with difficult behavior. Mm-hmm. I have to say, but a lot of the questions, strategies, and a lot of the behaviors and how you deal with those, a lot of them you can do, whether it's a face-to-face or virtual event. And that's the key thing there.
Yeah. 2 things come to me in mind when you go through what's in your book. The first one is like, I've got lots of questions for you, but are you going to use the shield on me? and
it might do. It depends on how specific you are.
And the second one is on the title of your book itself, Fearless. For me, the first time when I picked it up, was like, it's not just about fearless, but it's about less fear or fear less. If I've got the strategies in place, I could, if I'm nervous, I could just have a little bit less fear.
Yeah, and that's really what the book's aimed. The book's aimed at three types of audience. The first one is really around those who struggle with a bit of social phobia. And people, well, what's social phobia? And typically it's the fear of public speaking, but also the fear of looking stupid in front of others. And and when your reputation's online and things are starting to fall apart around you, oh my God. And most people struggle with public speaking generally and standing up in front of folks. But as a presenter, A, you should know your stuff, and B, you don't really need much from the audience. But as a facilitator, you need to get the audience. You're not an audience anymore. It's a group, and you need to get them busy and get them doing stuff, get them collaborating and working together, and actually to make the environment feel safe enough for them to do so. So that's quite tricky. So the first thing is really around how to get over that fear of standing up and dealing with all of that, and therefore the ability to prepare, but also having the confidence that you've got the strategies to deal with the questions and the behaviors together will hopefully give people less fear, as you say. But interestingly, last week, the second audience is then, you might have got over your fear of public speaking, but then you've also got the fear of what could go wrong.
Absolutely, because with now so many things could possibly go wrong in the virtual world, and of course in the physical face-to-face environment.
But not just that. Last week we ran the train the virtual trainer, and we got into that as well because we ran some techniques, and then people were going, but what happens when the group's really quiet? What do you do then? And then somebody said, but what happens if you get an attendee who sort of tries to take over? And all of a sudden you can think, great. This is why I've written the book. Because, yes, people might have got over the fear of standing up, but then people are also fearful of what happened. How do they deal with people, during events? So it's aimed at those as well. And then the third set of audience is people who are running events already, whether meetings, workshops, training events, but just need a bit of structure. And again, this came up last week. We did the virtual trainer last week, and one of their objectives, it came up time and time again, was I run events, but I don't really have any structure. I don't really have, they called it a backbone. And I need a backbone, I need a structure. And that's what the book starts to do, certainly with the first section, the iceberg. It gives them a step-by-step approach as to how to prepare for meetings, but then also some structure when to deal with difficult questions and deal with difficult behaviors. So hopefully we're going to go from people who are fearful to having less fear. And the end of the journey is fearless, where they'll go, whatever group, whatever the situation, I know I can cope with it. And that's largely come from my own journey, from being an introvert and being terrified of standing up in front of folks, to the stage where, last 2 years ago, presenting to 250 people in a massive auditorium with Alex, actually, in Madrid.
Tips and tricks that you've collected from start of your career till now. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a question for our audience here today now. And the question is, what do you worry about when you're leading an event?
I put that on the banner there as well. So Alex, are you ready? Ready for the comments coming flying in? And we know that there may be a bit of a delay in asking the question and then getting the answers, but let's just see what we've got on the comments now. Let me promote Alex up to the stream. Alex, anything coming through?
No questions as yet. Lots of competition to see who lives furthest away, I have to say, at the moment. So,
who's winning so far?
Well, I've got a bit of a dilemma. We have Agnes, who's from Budapest, who's about 1,100 miles away from Leicester. That's quite close. Karen,
Well done, Agnes.
Karen, she's currently in Brighton, but originally she's from Budapest. I mean, from Guatemala. So Guatemala, hola Karen, ¿qué tal? They're talking about 5,000 miles. So that's quite a bit further away. But she's not there now, which is important, I think.
Yeah,
it's
now.
Yeah, we did say, where are you watching us from now?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, Eva's come up with an answer to the question. So thanks for playing, Eva. That she misses the questions or comments and can't be in touch with so many people.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why I've got Alex involved originally. And again, what was interesting, I'll just show you under the hood here, folks. We were supposed to have two helpers, Alex and another gentleman called Justin, and with 3 minutes to go. No Alex and no Justin. Justin's completely forgotten, and Alex had got the wrong time. So we've got 1 out of 2. So Eva, it's a great point. That's why I've got Alex involved, because Wendy and myself are trying to drive this front of house with Alex supporting in the background, and we can promote Alex every now and again. Just make sure he's still involved, and try and give us some of the comments that he's spotted as we've been driving the event. So, Alex, anything else coming through?
Yeah, so there's just a comment from Karen. I think it's more of maybe a fear. Will they throw me a curveball question that I can't answer without doing some proper thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole beauty of the shield questions, because the strategies, because you can just bounce them back. Don't answer any questions is my top tip. But if you need to, then there are some strategies in the book that will buy you some time in order for you to do that. The first one being specific, get them to give you an example. Tell me more is my favorite question to ask. If somebody asks me a difficult question and I have no clue, I'll just tell me more. Can you be a bit more specific? And that just buys you a whole load of time, doesn't it? I love that.
Yeah, and Hamil has written something about worry about useful topics that can take you off the agenda. Being hijacked. Woohoo!
Yeah,
how do we deal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Hamil. I'd love to, as a facilitator, I would say, what do you think? But given the live stream nature of this event, it's difficult for Hamil to talk about. But feel free for anyone else to put their answers in the comments. But what I would do is ultimately it's a decision to make. If the thing that Hamil mentioned there was useful topics. Now, who decides whether they're useful or not? And one of the things I would do if that's happening to me is really bounce that question back to the group. Hamil wants to talk about a completely different topic over here, folks. Is that something that we want to spend time on, or shall we move on? And then, if the rest of the group want to move on, then it's not me that's stopped it. It's the rest of the group. But if the rest of the group go, yeah, Hamil, great point. All right, so let's play with that then. But what other bit of the agenda shall we let go of? Because we've only got so much time. But also, you're giving the group the choice, and that's important, because otherwise it becomes a you and them scenario, and you don't really want to that dynamic to take hold, because otherwise you lose them as a group. So
and you still get to be the good guy.
Yeah, well, it's not about necessarily being the good guy, but you don't want to be the enemy, because then you're fighting the group all the way, and that's just not what you want. Yeah. Anything else, Alex?
Yeah. So there's a few things. So I mean, just talking about the the test that I gave you on purpose of what happens when your co-tutor doesn't turn up. Agnes is asking about that. So your co-tutor facilitator doesn't show up. What do you do in that case?
Yeah, or if you're in Frankfurt, Alex, and your co-trainer comes downstairs very ill because he drank too much banana juice beer. Marcus, we know who you are. We thought we'd get it on the live stream.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, we've been in that situation before many times, and that's ideally why you have two trainers, not one trainer. Because if you have two trainers, the show can go on. But if you've only got one trainer and that trainer doesn't show, then no, game over. You've got no choice whatsoever. So, you know, there are options if you've got one trainer remaining. Certainly, I've been in that situation where we've had to run things very differently in the design to make sure that we still are adding value to that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's let me just see what else we've got. We've got Paul. Something similar there, which I know you and I have both been through, funnily enough, in the same offices as well. The room booked doesn't satisfy the room spec provided in advance of the event itself. In fact, it's not fit for purpose. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I talk a lot about that in chapter 4. I mean, a lot of the stuff in here does cover virtual and physical, but there are some in here that are specifically focused on physical, and venue. Chapter 4 does that, and I talked just about that, Paul. Where Keith and I did a gig in Leicester in the university at De Montfort, and the room was just full of furniture, and we just couldn't accommodate all the people and all the furniture. So we ended up taking the furniture out. And similarly in Dubai, my room was brilliant. It was fantastic, but it was in an atrium on the 12th floor of this hotel. But the atrium went up to the 18th floor. So the noise. So when you spoke, the projection went up 6 floors and back down, and you couldn't hear anybody. So we had to get microphones. We had to get microphones, and that slowed all the discussions down. So, you know, I talk a lot about what to do about that in chapter 4 on venues. And part of what I say is, you know, get there early. If you can get there physically as well, just to check out the room. I mean, I've been in Dublin before, actually, where you work, Wendy, and I got the room next to the canteen.
I know that room.
And the noise, oh my goodness, the noise was a nightmare. But so if you can get there and physically check it out, and then maybe find a better room, then great. So yeah, I cover a lot of that in chapter 4, but it is a problem.
We've got another one from Eva saying, you know, what happens, you know, if it turns out too late that they've actually got the exercise wrong, and also you're giving them to go away and they come back and it's nothing like what you expected.
Yeah, well, there's learning in that, isn't there? And partly what it's amazing how many people can interpret things the wrong way, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, that's partly how you set things up. And if you have more than one trainer, you can walk around more quickly. And on virtually, we do this again. We tried to do it today. You know, we had 30 people in our session today, and only 2 trainers. We had one trainer, Alex, that didn't turn up because they were doing some other stuff, and therefore we didn't have enough trainers to cover all the breakouts. Look, I think we got away with it, but because we were one trainer down, we didn't cover all the breakouts. So, but that's another thing you can do. You can spread the love, but invest in the setup is really key, and get them to play it back. Do you know what you're doing? Yes, we do. That's a closed question. What are you doing? And they have to then explain it back, and hopefully they'll get it.
Hey, guess who's streaming us right now?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Hi, Justin.
Douglas. Hi, Justin.
Too late. I've got your job.
The boat sailed, Justin. Right.
No backstage pass for you, but we can say hi.
Yeah. So we need to move on, Alex. I mean, we're going to give a free book away to which answer you thought was the best there, or which question you thought was the most thought provoking. Any suggestions?
There is actually one which I think was quite good, and we've not actually come to it as yet. From Karen saying, you know, I found the things that I think will be most useful, like what I will say, aren't the most important. It's what actually happens maybe in the breakout rooms, the small group chats that's of more value to people. So there, we I suppose it's, we think sometimes we have to have all of the great comments.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you say Karen.
Yeah, Karen's been very active as well in all of the chat throughout. So I think she deserves a book for now. Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. And what? So I've made a note. So Karen, if you just want to drop me on email where we can send the book to, that'd be helpful, and I'll get that in the post just as soon as I can. But whilst we're at it, Alex, an issue in books. Who's furthest away?
Well, furthest away is actually at the moment it's Agnes.
Agnes. Okay.
Yes. So
cool.
She's she's in the lead at the moment by about 300 miles. So if Aki Mayer can get on his car and travel really fast and cover more than 300 miles distance, then who knows?
All right. So
drive far away and log in again.
So let's close that down now then, just to save Alex some pain on his geography. So I've made a note. So Karen, I'll send a book about who's done the best response for the question about worrying, and Agnes who's furthest away. So ladies, if you want to send me your details on email, I'll get the address. I'll get the book in the post to you just as soon as I can. Shall we move on, Wendy?
Yes. So Paul, this is your first book, right?
Yes. Might be the last. It's taken a lot of effort to get here, but I've enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so what is the biggest learning, your personal learning in writing this book?
Well, I've been learning so much. Right from the book proposal that I had to write at the beginning to actually get the publisher to say, yes, sounds good, right up to today. I've not done a global live stream. We're using this wonderful tool called StreamYard. Not used that before, so I'm learning how to do that. But the biggest learning, when I finished the book, it'd be about a year ago now, actually almost stopped writing about a year ago. I decided to do a self-edit before giving it to an editor to work on. I did a self-edit, and as part of that, I bought Grammarly. You can get a free version, but I paid extra for the professional version, because in Grammarly Professional, you get something called readability.
Okay.
And it's like a score. So if it's a low score, university professors will probably be able to read it, but that's it. And if it's so in like the 40s, 30s or 40s, if it's a sort of 60 plus, then most people should be able to read it, including teenagers and maybe even younger than that. And so when I first started loading my book into chapter by chapter, just to break it down a bit, it was terrible. Readability was awful. It was, sometimes in the 50s, occasionally high 50s, sometimes low 40s. It was like, oh my God, it was heavy paragraphs, long sentence structures, long words, wishy-washy grammar. It was horrible. So I spent a long time rewriting a lot of the book, just to really improve the readability to where there was a minimum score of 60, and some chapters even hit 70 now, because I want this book to be a book that people can pick up and read and understand and act on quickly, as opposed to going what and rereading it, because that's really frustrating. So that's the first thing. The second thing I learned and when doing that was, and we teach it all the time when we're facilitators, being clear, concise and compelling. And I wasn't concise. I want the book. I had a vision of it be about 50,000 words, and I was at 56,000. And in the self-edit, I cut 6,000 words without losing any messages.
Amazing. Otherwise, your book would have been that much thicker.
Yeah. And the problem is, the thicker the book, the more it costs to print.
And you still sell it for the same price.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some economics to improve there as well. So the biggest learning, was around how to be more clear, concise, and compelling when writing. We do this all the time when we're delivering training and workshops.
Yep.
But actually putting
It's simple.
Yeah, that was my big.
Yeah, and that's interesting because sometimes when I'm delivering class and some participant might come up to me and say to me, I bet I actually understand you better than the other, which is a native English speaker that might be talking too fast, using big words, and someone just came and it's like, as a non-native English speaker, I understand you better because I am a non-native English speaker, so I by default it's quite simplified communication. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. We are almost at our halfway mark, and I think we're good. We're good here.
Yeah, we're not too. Not too, to the folks who are watching, we have rehearsed this, believe it or not, and not a complete dry run, but we're there or thereabouts. I think we might have to pick up speed just a little bit, but I think we're all right.
Yeah, so one of the things that, Paul, you speak about in your book is the iceberg section, and you speak about the thing about being resilient and the importance of it. Why is this important?
Yeah, it makes it's in chapter 2, and it's early on because purpose is the first chapter, which drives everything, but resilience is the second one because it's tough. Running an event is tough, both physically demanding. Even if you're doing a virtual, it's physically tough. You're thinking, you're trying to be one step ahead, and mentally it's tough as well. You're regularly thinking about what's going on, how am I doing, how's the group feeling. So it's tough, and the book talks about physical resilience. So, are you getting enough sleep? Just be careful of the alcohol. And Alex will know in the book, I talk about my experience in Zandvoort in the Netherlands, where let's just say I had a few too many. And by Friday, it caught up with me. And I nearly got locked out of the training room by Alex simply because I was a little late getting up that morning. So, but also making sure about caffeine, because if you drink too much caffeine, that affects your sleep. So I talk a lot about physical resilience and health and fitness and all that sort of stuff, but also mental resilience, and that can be a big blocker for a lot of people. The confidence in your ability, your belief. So, touch on growth mindset is a great example. I talk about things that you can do to boost your confidence in the design. Having a plan B is a great example. If you've got a plan B, what happens if I lose the timing? What happens if you've got a plan B? Then you've got some more confidence in that. So I talk a lot about some simple techniques that you can use to apply to really boost your mental resilience as well.
Yeah, and that's pretty much also, as you talk about, having a plan B, it really helps you to be that swan. It's kind of like looking calm. If something goes wrong, it's okay. In my mind, I have a plan B and how to deal with it.
Yeah, because if the group feels they're safe in your hands, then they'll relax. If they don't, then they'll start to play up, and if they start to play up and act, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's a downward spiral into doom.
Well, John has a very nice comment here about the little thing that we spoke about. You spoke about the readability. He says, yes, well done for making it such an easy read. My daughter has also asked for my copy to read. Woohoo!
Thanks, John. Let's promote John's comment there. It's another thing that I'm learning to do on this live stream here. So thanks, John. Appreciate the comment. Keep them coming. Thanks for spotting that. Okay, keep going. So what else we're going to cover, Wendy?
Well, the Shield offers different strategies to deal with difficult questions. I've not asked you any difficult questions yet, Paul. Just wait, it's coming.
Oh, actually, hang on. Before we do that, we need to give away some water bottles with the hydration, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do.
I almost forgot that. So let's just bear with. Hang on, let's just get that up and running.
Yep.
So this is the subscribers, and I know who you are, subscribers. So I'll be watching the comments. I've got 2 water bottles to give away. If you're subscribed to the newsletter, which I haven't written yet, by the way, but I will do once I've got the launch out of the way. If you subscribe to the newsletter, I know who you are. Just type "yes, please" into the comments, and the first 2 that will come up, who I know are subscribed, will get those water bottles. And there's a replay prize as well for those who've subscribed. There you go.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So that's Karen and Hamill, who I know are both subscribed to the newsletter. So well done. For those who still want to, there's time to subscribe to the newsletter. And between now and the May 31st, any new subscribers, I'll send one to those watching on replay too.
You can even watch this on replay, even if you watch this live.
That's like Inception, isn't it? That's like a real mind melt. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So
what
Paul,
are you asking? You're going to ask me something? Yeah. Sorry.
Back to the bit where you talk about Shield, and it offers different strategies to deal with difficult questions. Why is it important for groups to answer their own questions?
Yeah, and in true author style, I'm going to read from the book here, very briefly. There are I captured in here 6 reasons for not answering questions. Answering some questions and not others may allow your group to guess the extent of your knowledge. So if you know some things and know others, then all of a sudden your group will get an idea of what you do and don't know. Well, that's not good. Mm-hmm. Getting the group to answer your question, or getting the group to answer any questions posed, encourages them to think more. So that their engagement might go up because you're forcing them to think rather than just being passive. If people go passive, they zone out. So you don't want that. Encouraging the participants to answer any questions posed enables them to become more resourceful. So they reduce the reliance on you. So rather than you working really hard, working the room to get energy and participation, if you give them the permission to answer their questions, then the workload starts to move over to them, which is what you want. But also, the ownership of any response that comes from them and actions rests with them. If you come up with an idea to a question and they try it and it doesn't work, you get the blame. So if they come up with an answer to their question and they try it, well, it's on them. The ownership is there. So that's what you want. Also, do this early on as well. Not answering questions posed sends a signal to the group that you're not going to do all the work. For the event to be successful, they will also need to do some work. And if you can do that early on, start doing that 2 or 3 times, people will start to realize. And that leads me to my final point. If you decide to answer some questions, participants might start to test your knowledge by asking more challenging questions. They may think twice about that strategy if they know that a really difficult question is going to come back their way. They may not do that in the first place. So again, that is a prevention of a tough situation by just getting all these difficult questions. So that's just 6 there. When I started to write that, I come up with 2 or 3, but no, the pen just kept flowing. It was like, oh my God, this is brilliant.
Yeah, and that is a really good comment here from Karen. It says, I heard something about a counselor, colleague. If you're working too hard for your client, the client isn't really working.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Karen. Yeah, great point. yeah, exactly. So that's why wherever possible, I encourage people not to answer questions. If it's just a short clarification question, like what time's lunch, or how long have we got for this activity, then fair enough.
Yep.
Let's not be silly about this. But most questions that gets bounced to you as a facilitator, just bounce them back, and let the group work.
And of course, there's a differentiation when you're facilitating a session versus when you're presenting and being the subject matter expert. There, you should be providing some answers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, Paul,
And
in your
I love this, by the way. Where is it? Yvonne's note here. Such transferable stuff in a dog training world. It is, Yvonne. You're absolutely right. You know, I've pitched this really at the business world, but these are people skills that can be applied in any walk of life. So I wanted just to shout out that observation from Yvonne there, because I think she's absolutely right.
Paul, now you've got lots of tips in your book. I'm not going to say how many, but which one is your favorite?
Yeah, but I'm going to link into Karen's point as well. Actually, my favorite is something called "Get Curious, Not Furious," and the reason why I like that, you can apply it in all sorts of situations. And just to give you an idea, you know, it's about building that buffer between something happening, whether somebody's behaving inappropriately or against what you don't like, or saying something. And it's about building that buffer between a negative automatic response or reaction, shall I say, and a more positive, helpful response. So it's about, you know, it's almost like counting to 10, but it's but ideally get curious by asking questions. It provides you with that buffer. And
I'm curious, what's behind the get furious, not furious? I sense that there's a story behind this get curious, not furious.
Oh, there's loads. Oh, there's loads of story. I mean, the one that I used in the book was when years ago I was running a project, and I had a team meeting at 3:00 every Monday afternoon. We didn't do them in the morning because everyone was traveling from all over the country to get to the project. So the morning was a bit of a write-off. So we did it in the afternoon about 3:00, which I thought was quite reasonable. Avoid lunch, you know, not too late in the day. And there's one lady who was either not there physically or not there mentally. You know, she wasn't engaged. If she was there, she was looking at her watch. Didn't really speak. Mostly, sometimes even sat with the coat on. You know, talk about subtle. You know, even in spring and in the autumn.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. He's like not committed. You know, I was getting really annoyed. I thought, you know, I'm working really hard for this project, and this lady's just not interested. And I was getting really irritated, and you could tell that it was starting to leak out in the way I was speaking and behaving towards her. So I thought, and I was going to escalate, and I thought, I'm not going to escalate because, you know, I don't know what's going on with her. So, you know, I thought, you know, I'm going to have a conversation. So I just went to her and said, look, you know, this is what I've noticed. I'm just curious, you know, is everything okay? You know, what's going on? And I had no clue that she was a working mother, and started at 7:30 every morning, but left at 3 to go and pick her kids up from school. I had no clue, and you know, and I had very, you know, annoyingly booked a meeting every week at 3:00 when she needed to leave and go and pick up her kids. So, so I was like, "All right. So, what if we do it early in the day?" She said, "Yeah, absolutely fine, no problem." So, so I thought, oh, "Okay, that was it." It was such an easy fix.
Get curious, problem solve.
But you know, for a couple of weeks, I was getting really irritated, thinking, oh, you know, it's just no commitment. But it wasn't the case at all. There was commitment. It's just I just hadn't bothered asking about the most appropriate time. So, you know, it gets you out of a lot of trouble. You know, rather than reacting and creating a real problem, you can actually, just by asking a question, building in that buffer, create some nice opportunity to really connect with the person. Also, A, you get curious, and B, you start to build that relationship as well. Nice. I have to say, Justin's very busy on the comments. You know, he's
you'll have to promote him because he has to get his airtime.
Yeah, well, yeah, Justin, if we see you in the you've got the StreamYard link. If we see you in StreamYard, I'll promote you.
Okay. Well, time for prizes again. Woo-hoo.
Is it? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like question to our audience. What's the most challenging behavior you have witnessed in an event? Does not matter whether you are running the event or you're part of the event. What's the most challenging behavior you've witnessed during an event. Tell us
Yeah.
about your challenging experience.
Yeah. I mean, while we can wait, we can talk. We can talk about Alex. You can talk about Marcus's experience with the amorous student a few weeks ago.
Marcus has already come in for a bit of stick with his non-alcoholic beer and banana
He
juice.
has with his banana juice. Yeah.
I think he's had enough.
Yeah, let's leave Marcus alone.
Just as we see the comments coming in, we've also had Amy Fernham has joined us as well, and she's actually in Colorado. She's 4,600 miles away. Unfortunately, Amy, you've joined too late. We'd already given out the price for the furthest person joining us today. So you may have to have a word with Paul quietly there and promote that.
Amy from Colorado. Wow. Okay, I'll bear that in mind. I might have some spare books. We'll wait and see. Yeah, well, I've made a note of Amy's joining. So hi, Amy from Colorado. Nice to join. Nice to see you. And Justin, you're with us as well. So I've got double trouble now because I've got Alex and Justin, but I've lost Wendy.
You've lost
Wendy.
Well,
you've got so you've got a couple of things coming here. Let's just see. We've got somebody telling me I'm wrong, says Charlie. Charlie Dean. This is one of your participants coming on and saying you're wrong. It's this way.
Yeah, that's going to force a defense mechanism, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We've also got timekeeping. That's maybe not a behavior, it's just the organization. Let's see what else we've got. In a personal development group, there are usually angry challenges, but our group really genuinely liked each other. The facilitator kept on trying to make us angry with one another. He looked at me and said, Karen, you are angry about anything. Are you angry about anything? My reply, the only thing that's making me angry here is you trying to disrupt our lovely group. So getting some interaction there.
Ouch.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, gosh, a few coming in. A woman completely melting down as her dog was attacked by another dog. So that was... something there quite challenging. A DPE hijacking a security session, so somebody else taking over your session and making it their own as well. So yeah.
I mean, these things happen, don't they? I mean, every single event, there's always something that's going on and some behavior to deal with, and not just in the physical environment. There are some interesting behaviors as well virtually. But even better with virtual, because you can mute people and kick them out if you really want to. But not that we do that, obviously. But yeah, it's but in a lot of those behaviors there, we do cover not specific behaviors, but a lot of the behaviors generic, like backseat facilitators who try and take over and hijack. We do sort of cover a lot of that in the book. Strategies like giving them, I call it stage management, where you sort of have a bit, you confront them initially in a break, so you don't overly dominate, and then you say, look, I'm going to give you some airtime, but let's just hear for some others first, and just because if they know that they're going to get airtime, then hopefully they'll respect you and stay quiet until you then give them airtime. You've obviously got to honor that, otherwise you're in big trouble. And if they then try and take over, you then say, well, hang on a minute, I did say I was going to give you airtime. If you can just hang on, and then you've almost got like a mini contract with them to do that. But and then the book, the last 3 chapters go sort of green, amber, red. So there are strategies in here that you can escalate. So the green ones are nice and gentle, the amber ones are a little bit more intense, and the red ones are right. Okay, this is really serious. I need to really step up my game now.
Yeah, just like what Susanna have mentioned here now, there's a person who consistently belittle others.
Yeah. Hey, Susanna.
Yeah. Hi, Susanna. Nice to see you. Yeah, absolutely. So, Justin, welcome. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you as well. It's good to see you, and I absolutely love this. As I said in the chat right when I came on, it's a beautiful example of how you can get a mismatch on understandings. It's been in my calendar for 4:30 p.m. for like weeks, and then it's like. And it was weird because I reread your most recent email, and then suddenly there's a 3:45 kicking around in there. I thought, what's going on here? But I think it's a great demonstration that this is the kind of thing that happens, and particularly in the virtual world. I mean, I was literally delivering a session this morning about meetings in the virtual setting. And my goodness, we came up with so many different problems. And some of them are within our control to change and kind of minimize the probability of them happening. Others just you can't do much about. For example, something's, like the Wi-Fi completely going down or a power cut, which we've seen in some events. But I think, when I think of all these things and, this incident with me sort of like the timing being wrong, I think of it and I think to myself, what we have to do is we just look at all the different controllable elements and do our best to manage those. So it's fascinating.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. So you can earn your crust now, Justin. We need to find a winning response. Which behaviour and comment did you like the most out of all of the ones that we saw there? Anyone that grabs you?
Well, the one that I'm quite tempted by. I'm quite tempted by Yvonne's one about her dog being attacked by another dog, and the reason I'm quite tempted by that is because there's a sort of an emotional element there. And I remember, Paul, working with you years ago, and we had like a health scare in one of our events. And those can be quite, A, it's a kind of disruption to what's going on, but B, it's also can be quite serious. There's an actual serious impact. So I do feel pretty drawn to that one for a very specific reason. So I might choose that one today.
All right, great. Well, Yvonne wins a signed book. Yvonne's already bought the book, believe it or not, but she's bought a Kindle version. So we'll send Yvonne an author signed version as well. So congratulations, Yvonne. So Yvonne, if you want to send me your details as to where we can send your book, just email me on that address, and I will get that in the post for you.
Anywhere in the world.
I think Yvonne's UK based. Looking at what she said earlier, she was UK based, so it's all fine. Yeah.
Right, Paul. You have more prizes to give away.
I know. It's crazy. It's just give today, isn't it? Give. So let me just get rid of Alex and Justin, which very rude of me, I know, but they'll be back. They'll be back. Don't worry. And is it this one? Yeah, this is the goodie bag. It's the goodie bag competition. So folks have sent me, not receipts. Only one person sent me a receipt, and I spoke to him separately, so he's all fine. I'm doing a photograph competition here, folks. A photograph. These wonderful people have bought the book, and not only bought the book, they sent me in a photo. So and Yvonne's number 6, by the way. So that's just to give you an idea of who Yvonne is, and you put a face to a name. And they've all given me permission to use their photos, so that's all fine. So, and by the way, Susanna, who's got a LinkedIn attached to her, she's posted this on LinkedIn, has got pretty much 1,000 views on that photo in LinkedIn. So thanks for promoting that one, Susanna. So yeah. A great background as well. So it's a competition, folks. Who would you like to win? I've got 2 to give away here today live. So who vote on your comments, just 1 to 6. Who would you like to see get a goodie bag here? And by the way, Eva, number 1, all those post-its are those 6 shield strategies. That's what that's all about. You can't quite work it out from that. So let's do some voting on the 1 to 6. Guy's gone number 1. Thank you. Let's promote the dynamic duo. So, folks, just Help me out, Alex. Justin, what are we seeing? No, Amy likes them before. Yeah, he's bought a beer. He's bought my book. He's settled in for the weekend.
Seeing 1 and 4, a few
Yeah.
ones coming in. 1,
I keep
4.
seeing. Oh, hang on. 4 and Susanna. I'm seeing 5. That's Susanna. Oh my
3
goodness.
4s, 2 5s, 2 1s, or 3
Right.
1s, 4 1s.
So I think one's. I think Eva. It sounds like Eva. So it's toss up between 4 and 5. I think Susanna, for me personally, she's promoted it as well as buying a book. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think there might be a few more 4s and 5s. It's quite hard to judge. Could be pretty even there.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think I might have enough to give 3 out. So I'll go 1, 4, and 5. So Eva, Simon, I know who's got the beer, and Susanna. So I'll send those to you as well. Congratulations. They'll be in the post. In the goodie bags, by the way, you've got key rings. Not sure if you can see those. You've got key rings. You've got pens. There you go. There's a pen. You've got little notebooks. You've got all sorts. And there's some sports bottles in there as well. So feel free to use a sports bottle in the gym and promote the Fearless Facilitator.
Yeah, someone will, what's this Fearless Facilitator? Yeah, you can talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So what's next, Wendy?
Next, Paul, is how can audience get in touch with you or keep in touch, keep connected with the...
Oh, of course. Yeah, because we're running out of time, aren't we? So we need to wrap this up, really. So lots of ways to keep connected, folks. For those who've subscribed to the newsletter, that's the first thing you can do. If you want to subscribe, I have not written the newsletters yet, but they're going to be full of tips and techniques. Each month I'm going to do it. I can't do it each week. That's just too much. But each month I'll put out a newsletter with tips, tricks, that'll help people prepare for events and run events, both virtual and face to face. So the sign up is on the website on paulmotley.com. To complement the newsletters, I'm also going to do some webinars. If I can do more live streaming using this StreamYard, I will do, because I'm loving the functionality of this thing, especially when you can show your slides as well as talk at the same time and zoom in, zoom out. I'm loving that functionality, so we'll do that. There's a Facebook page as well. I'm trying to build a community where people can help each other on the Facebook community. So if you're in Facebook and you want to ask questions, so that's sort of a two-way thing. And the newsletter and the webinars tend to be one way. And obviously, I try and get some interaction going. But Facebook, obviously, if people want to ask questions, get involved, then we can do so on that as well. And then obviously, I'm offering coaching as well as part of the service as well.
That's lots and lots of way of getting connected.
Yeah. And my new hobby.
We've got to bring Alex and Justin back to tell us who has been the most engaged person from our audience.
Yeah, there's a book for the most engaged, Alex.
Tick, tick, tick.
And Justin doesn't count because he was very busy early on, wasn't he? He was making up for his absence. So don't include Justin.
It's true, but I will just share a very small thing while maybe Alex does a little bit of a count there. And it's a sort of a side thing from, especially relevant to virtual events. I would say to anybody listening to this, either live or in playback, when you're on a live event, be as active as you can. Because when you are going to create opportunities for yourself. I've got a few stories, but I won't go into them, that have affected me from being highly involved. And it makes a difference both to yourself as a participant, especially in the online, which is quite, it can be quite challenging, keeping your attention on the screen, but it also makes a difference to both the facilitator and the people around you. Always think about value and, try and contribute valuable tips, information. But I guess the single one message is get engaged. But you're absolutely right. I don't count in this competition.
All right, Alex, we need to get to the grand prize as well. So I've only got a few minutes left.
Well, really, it's a hands down win, really. Karen has been non-stop contributing all the comments and questions and encouragement as well. So I mean, really, Karen is the winner.
She's already got a book though for the best response earlier on.
Well,
so did she get 2 books? I don't mind.
Well, you can get one signed and one not, and then
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll send 2 books, and Karen, give this to somebody who you think needs it the most.
Yeah.
How about that? I've also forgot to share this question as well, folks, not just for the live people, but for the replay as well. So if you're on replay and until the 31st of May, if you bought the book, you will know this answer. How many top tips are there in the Fearless Facilitator? So answers on a postcard to paul@paulmotby.com. By the 31st of May, I'll pick out a winner and send them a goodie bag too. It's just constantly give, isn't it? It's just brilliant. Okay,
and even more.
Yeah, we've got one more. We've got one more.
Because you do have a grand prize to give away, and you're going to tell us about this grand prize.
I am, yes. So here's the grand prize, folks. And again, this is just to reward those folks who've already bought the book. So fingers on buzzers. Ellen says, I want to volunteer for a signed copy if you have too many. Yeah, good to know, Ellen. Good to know. I'll keep you in mind. Chapter 16, there are 3 amber strategies for handling challenging behavior. Name one of them. The first person to enter a correct answer into the comments wins the book. Karen, relax. Karen, just relax.
Everyone's like flicking through the book really quickly. It's chapter 16.
Joanne says gin. No, unfortunately not.
Amy says,
Guy. I think Guy's got there. No, has Guy got there? Yes, he has. Get them busy is one of them. So well done, Guy. And Guy's already bought the book as well. But Guy, you're going to get a free signed copy book as well. Again, challenge is, I'd keep the signed one and just give away the book you've already bought to somebody who you think would best benefit from that. So that's my ask for that. So the answers to that question was get them busy, peer pressure, and tell a story. And tell a story is one of my favorite ones. So folks, we are at the end, believe it or not, of the launch party. We're bang on time, Wendy. It was a bit rushed towards the end there, but we're bang on time despite the challenges with Alex and Justin, but we got there in the end. Alex and Justin, thank you for coming on and supporting. I really appreciate it. I've loved all the comments as well. Wendy, thank you. You've been a brilliant host. Do you want to give a shout out to your podcast?
Well, my podcast is called Inoculate, and you hear stories from all corners of the world.
Is there a link that you could send or put on Facebook for us?
Yes, I can. I'll put it after we get off live.
Okay, so watch out for that on the comments, folks. If you want to join into Wendy's podcast, then just look at the comments afterwards and feel free to look at that podcast or listen to that podcast. So thank you, Wendy. You volunteered for this. I much appreciated your support and your advice. You've really helped to shape how we run this. And also to all of our wonderful people who joined today. And for those who are watching on replay, thanks for taking the time. So I wish you well and stay safe. Remember, be fearless and enjoy your next event. If you need me, you know where I am. Thanks again, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. I'm going to end the broadcast in 3, 2, 1. Bye.